Hello, I am Sarah Gould-Waslohn, and we are going to do the pelvic floor elevator today. So this is sort of an esoteric exercise, mostly because nothing externally is going to move. Everything that we're doing is internal movement. So we're going to be working the pelvic floor muscles, which live inside your pelvis. And we're going to be using the deepest layer of abdominal tissue, the transversus abdominis, and a little bit of musculature in the spine called the multifidi. So those three muscles, or muscle groups, so your pelvic floor muscles, your deepest layer of abdominal tissue, and then those multifidi in the back, they all are connected, and they'll respond, they'll engage in response to one another. So as we engage the pelvic floor and the abdominals, the multifidi will respond. You won't feel the muscles in your spine unless you were to dig your fingers back there, but there's no need to do that. Just know that some of those muscles in your spine will be engaging as well. So these muscles, the importance of them is to support your spine. So if you have lower back issues, these are really important muscles to get strong so that you are supported in your movements, and more specifically supported in neutral. So if you've watched my videos before, you've heard me talk about neutral. Neutral is not a flat back, but there's a little curve in the lumbar spine. So I'll stand up just to kind of tell you what I mean by that. So as I'm standing, and I have a little bit more lumbar curve in my spine, so that's that extension here in the lower part of the spine. And then we have some flexion in the upper part of the spine. I'm exaggerating, so I just have a little bit of flexion. And then we have the same amount of, or a similar amount of extension, this sort of curve in the neck. So the neck and the lower back mimic each other. So it's not that we're trying to eliminate the curve in the lower back. We're keeping that curve, but engaging our muscles to support that shape so that we're not just hanging and dumping the abdominals out, but we're engaging them to support this spinal shape. You do this when you're doing squats, right? You want to make sure that you're not bending your back when you're doing squats, but that you maintain neutral, stable. You want to do that when you're picking up something heavy as well, so that you're using the proper muscles and it's still engaging the abdominals, just not engaging the abdominals in this way. We're engaging them isometrically. So this is part of that. Oh, while I'm standing here, we're going to work with the ischial tuberosities. So those are two bony points at the base of your pelvis that you sit on. So if you've gone for a long bike ride after not biking for a while, those are the places that get sore under your butt. So they are right up underneath the glutes, so they're really deep, they're bones, right? So they're under all that fleshy tissue, way up underneath there. It's what the hamstrings connect into. So the back of the leg actually connects to those ischial tuberosities. So it's underneath all of that chunk. All right, so you have two, right? You have two of those sitting bones. And if you're not sure, just imagine, but if you dig your fingers underneath your seat, you should feel those bony protuberances. So way down, it's what you're sitting on. Okay, and I want you to be in a neutral pelvis. So you're inviting just a little bit of that arch, teeny tiny bit of that arch in your lower back, rather than dumping or hanging back. So I want to be right up on top of those two sits bones, or the ischial tuberosities. We use both terms, sits bones, ischial tuberosities. They're the same thing. So those bones will not move, but we're going to use our imagination to imagine that they could move. And we're going to try to move those ischial tuberosities toward one another. So squeezing inward, almost like they could touch. And then moving them apart. Yeah. So almost like a kegel. Try and move those two sits bones together. The bones won't move, but you should feel some muscular engagement around them. And then open So releasing those muscles, or even perhaps widening the sits bones further. And so we'll squeeze them together and then open apart. And we'll kind of finesse this a little bit. It's related to the Kegel, but it should be more than that. Maybe more intense than your average Kegel. So those are going to be our elevator doors. Okay, so let's just work with that image to start. So we're going to take a deep breath in. Your elevator doors are open. Your ischial tuberosities are wide. And then as you exhale, try and close the doors, the elevator doors. Those sits bones come as close, maybe touching if possible. And then inhale, slowly open the doors. Don't just bang them open. Slow open. Exhale, we squeeze the sits bones together. Try to close those doors all the way without actually moving any of the bones. And then inhale, open the doors slowly apart. And again, we'll close the doors, narrow the sits bones, narrow the ischial tuberosities, and then slowly open. So we're working with the part of the pelvic floor that is at the very bottom, the very base of your pelvis. And we'll get to some of the other parts soon. Try one more. Exhale, squeeze, close the doors of your elevator without moving the bones in your spine, and inhale, open. I'm using my hands because there's really nothing to see from the outside. All the work is happening inside. Okay, so we're gonna add to this. Before we do, we're gonna establish a few levels. So where our elevator is down, where those doors are right now, we're gonna call that the ground floor. Okay, right at the very bottom of your pelvis, right at that seat, whatever surface you're sitting on. So we're gonna now establish level 1. So I want you to find your hip bones in the front, the ASIS, anterior superior iliac spine, or just those bony points that come out in the front, okay? And then walk your fingers in until they meet each other. And this is gonna be our level 1 or floor 1. And then if you walk up to your belly button, that'll be our second floor, or level 2, floor 2. And then walk up just another 2 inches. We're gonna call this floor 3. Kind of about halfway between your sternum and your belly button. Somewhere between there, we'll call that the 3rd floor. So we have 3, belly button 2, just below that 1. And then we have the ground floor. All right, so we're just gonna do this 1 floor at a time. I want you to open those elevator doors. So we're widening the pelvis, the base of the pelvis, or relaxing the pelvic floor muscles. Take an inhale there. And as you exhale, narrow the sits bones, close your elevator doors, and lift your elevator up to level 1, just between those hip bone points. Now slowly inhale, lower your elevator with control without crashing, and then open the doors. And we'll do that again. Exhale, close the doors, and lift to level 1, nice and safe for your passengers. And then lower the elevator down with control. Inhale and open the doors. And again, exhale, close the doors. Raise your elevator up to level 1. So we should feel more lower abdominal engagement. Inhale, lower the elevator down with control without crashing, and open the doors. 2 more. Exhale, close the doors, raise your elevator up between the hip bones. And then lower with control and open. 1 more like that. Exhale, close and lift. So we're lifting the whole of that pelvic floor up. And then lower with control and let the sits bones widen. Okay, we're gonna add on. So the idea will be that we'll close the doors, we'll lift to level 1, then up to level 2, up to the belly button. We'll lower down with control and open. So this is an accumulation. We wanna engage more muscles the higher we take that elevator. So we're getting more into the abdominals now as we get higher up. So let's start in that relaxed position. The pelvic floor is relaxed, the abdominals are a bit relaxed, and our doors are open. Take an inhale. Exhale, close your elevator doors. Lift to level 1 and then up to level 2. So we should feel a deep abdominal engagement to lift up to that level 2. Now slowly lower down to level 1, all the way down to the ground floor, and open the doors safely. And again, exhale, close the doors. Lift to level 1 and up to level 2, up to the belly button. Engage the abdominals back and up like you're gonna hide your belly button inside your rib cage. And now inhale, lower down slowly, softly, all the way to the bottom and open the doors. Again, exhale, close your doors. Lift the pelvic floor up to that level 1, up to the top of the pelvis, and then up into the abdominal cavity, up to the belly button, up to that waistband. Inhale, lower through level 1, all the way down and open your doors. One more like this. Exhale, close the doors. Lift to level 1, the back shouldn't move. Lift to level 2, draw your abdominals in, squeeze that waistband, and now inhale, lower down, slow with control, and open the doors. Okay, now we're gonna be going all the way up to level 3, or you could try to go all the way up to the sternum. We could call that the top floor. So we're engaging all the way up to the diaphragm. So that should be the most amount of engagement that we can get here in this position. All right, yeah, let's go for it. So pelvic floor is wide, it's relaxed, the abdominals are somewhat relaxed, and we're sitting on those 2 ischial tuberosities. Doors are wide. Take an inhale. Exhale, close your doors and lift the pelvic floor up to level 1. Up to level 2, up to level 3. So we're squeezing the waist in and up, trying to pull the abdominals inside the rib cage. And now lower to level 2, level 1, all the way down and inhale, open. So that should feel like a lot. Exhale, close the doors. We lift to level 1, level 2, level 3, lower 2, inhale 1, and open the doors. We exhale to close, to squeeze and lift, 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 lift all the way to the top. Inhale as you lower slowly, as controlled as possible, and open. Exhale, close the doors, lift level 1 and 2 and 3, lower 2, inhale, lower 1, down to the ground floor and open. Last time, exhale, close the doors. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the abdominals 1, 2, and 3, even higher maybe. Inhale, lower down 3, 2, 1, all the way to the floor and open. And you can practice that more if you'd like to, if you want more workout. So a couple things just to note. We're squeezing and lifting the pelvic floor and abdominals up and in, sort of through this imaginary channel through the center of the body. And then we also want to be able to lower down and open and release. So the pelvic floor muscles, when they're strong, they should have the ability to both squeeze and engage and also to release and open. Or we could think of it like a trampoline. We want that trampoline to be able to lift and to lower down. We don't want it to get stuck and rigid. So we want it to be able to move in both directions. And usually this lift is an engagement of the abdominals, an engagement and squeeze of the pelvic floor, and then the lowering is usually, sometimes, more of a releasing of the pelvic floor, a relaxing and a letting go of that tension. We don't really want to push in this exercise, so you're not pushing down, because that's actually like pushing the pelvic floor out of some of those holes down there, some of those areas, and we don't really want to push that hard. You really just want to focus on relaxing as you get to the bottom of your elevator and as you open those. So it's more of a release and a relaxing. And for some of us, it's going to be easier to squeeze. For some of us, it's going to be easier to let go. So if you find that one is harder than the other, focus on the part that's more challenging. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great rest of your day.